Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. Welcome back to the Might and Magic 6 completionist run. I know at the end of the last video I mistakenly said we were going into part 2. I know why I said that, because I had forgotten about the introductory video and the loot tutorial video, but this is in fact part 4. And it's a very important part, because as you can see, we're finally going to be taking our first steps into the actual game world. It's a big moment, so before we do anything, let's just savor it, just for a couple seconds. Okay, that's enough savoring. You can stop now. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into each of our characters' inventories and set them up with the crappy stuff they started out with, and we're just gonna go left to right. Starting with Roderick the Paladin. Now, he starts out with a sword and a spear. I said we would be building him towards being able to use a sword one-handed, a spear one-handed, and sword in his offhand, but he's a long way away from being able to do that. He would need to be master in sword. And right now, he, like the rest of our party, is really just a baby, you know. A baby with a thick, rugged beard. So, because it's the same attack bonus, and because the sword does better average damage, 3 to 9 compared to 1 to 9, we'll give him the sword. You also notice that he started out with a club in his hand. That is in fact this item. You'll notice it has no attack bonus, 1 to 3 damage, and just to really drive the insult home, a value of only 1. And I believe if you don't have a merchant skill, then certain shopkeepers won't even give you the 1 gold if you try to sell it to them. You will get 0 gold. So I legitimately consider the fact that the game gives us clubs, and each character has started out with a club. I consider that to be an affront to my dignity as a human being. And if you think I'm gonna carry this around and try to sell it for 1 gold, game, you are mistaken. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna pick it up, close my inventory, and throw it on the ground. Yes, that's right. Cue the Lonely Island Andy Samberg references. Yeah, I'm an adult. Okay, Ali. Settle down. It's too early for this tomfoolery. Let's go back to Roderick's inventory. You'll notice he also starts out with a Rich Ring of Might. That's pretty good. So each character also starts out with a ring, and it's random whether or not it has an enchantment on it. This one gives 4 might, which could actually be pretty good, but for now it's more useful to me as something that I could sell. He also starts out with an alchemy ingredient and an empty potion bottle. He also starts out with the Bless spell. So if you might remember, he starts out with Spirit Magic, and there's one spell that he already knows. And the game has also started out with the Bless spell, which is a very important spell. It increases the attack bonus for everyone you cast it on, and at the Master level, it affects the entire party at once. So this is going to be crucial in the early game, even the mid game, and I would say even the early late game. And yes, I know early late game sounds like an odd phrase, but you know what I meant. This is going to be a pretty important spell.
Okay.
See, Roderick agrees. By the way, what happened there? The members of your party will periodically either respond to or acknowledge things that either you do or things that happen, and that was Roderick acknowledging that he was able to learn the Bless spell. Just for fun, let's try and teach him a spell related to a skill that he doesn't have. So, static charge from air magic. And you'll see that Roderick, who only moments earlier successfully learned the Bless spell,
I can't learn that.
has now forgotten how to read. That's okay. It happens. Let's give the spell back to its rightful owner.
Okay.
And she has learned it. Let's equip her with the crossbow. Let's give her her hand axe. Let's take this club and throw it on the ground. Let's look at her ring. Okay, regular sparkling ring, that's fine. Let's give the alchemy stuff to Zoltan. Keep passing it along. Let's go to... Ooh. Oh. Wow, this is this is really good. We got a really good roll on the rings that we started out with. This is gonna give us some nice seed money. And I mean, these are actually useful rings. Like a 5 stat bonus to accuracy is good to have early on. But I'd rather put it towards other things like buying good bows and learning all the skills that we need. Let's teach her first aid from body magic, which is the most basic form of healing that she'll learn. She'll get more powerful ones later on. Let's give her her basic shield. Let's give her her mace. Let's take her club and, of course, throw it on the ground. Let's go to Zoltan. Let's give him his dagger. Let's take his club and, let's just throw it on the ground, because that's what we do. And give him his leather armor. Let's give him his spell, which is Flame Arrow. Let's look at his ring. Regular sparkling ring? Okay, that's fine. And yeah, sure, why not? Let's mix the potions. And let's organize things a little bit. So I'm gonna be keeping the potions in Roderick's inventory. I could put them anywhere. There's no alchemy skill in this game, unlike in later entries in the series. But I'm doing it in his inventory for a couple of reasons. It's nice to keep your alchemy stuff organized. And also, I guess kind of a role-playing reason, the mage makes sense that he would also be the one doing the alchemy. At least, it makes sense to me. Having done all that, I'm just gonna save the game for the first time. Let's call it New Game Number 1. What we're gonna do now is, go inside the town. You know what? All this talking and, throwing stuff on the ground is really, I feel really thirsty after all that. And would you look at that? There's a well right here. Well full of water. See wonderful 90s graphics. But let's click on it. And as you can see, refreshing. You know what? I'm actually going to take a sip of water in real life. Awesome. You know what? We're walking around with 200 gold. I don't want anything to happen. Let's just be on the safe side and, this place looks like it's a bank, right? It's got piles of coins on its sign. Let's go inside. And indeed, it's a bank. It's called a savings house. Let's just deposit our money. All of it. And you know what? These hefty financial transactions have really worked up my thirst again. Let's go back to that well and take another drink. Would you look at that? This time, we found 100 gold. Interesting. Let's go back to the bank. Let's immediately withdraw all our gold. And you know what? Let's just lean against the side of the bank for a moment. Let's click on it. Oh, look! We found a scroll! Isn't that cool? Having done that, let's just go for, before we do anything, a stroll. This way. Let's just walk around, get a sense of the sights around New Sorpigal. Let's you might notice some goblins over there. We're not gonna worry about them, and we're gonna go over to this rock. Because we like rocks, right? Rocks are cool. Let's touch this rock.
Got it.
Look at that! It wasn't a rock at all, but rather a chest with stuff inside. We actually got a bad roll on this because you can get some pretty good stuff in this rock.
I don't know.
We got a helm, which you can't identify yet.
Ah.
We got a leather belt of might, which you can identify. Normally this would be worth only 40 gold, but the 3 might makes it 340. Excellent fodder for selling. Let's pick up this gold as well. And I guess we can see if the helm does anything for us. No, it's as you can see, all it does is it's raising our armor class. So it is a regular helm. And who needs armor the most? I guess our healer. We'll just have you wear that. With all that done, now let's go back to Roderick's inventory and let's finally read the letter that he started out with. Now, one decision that I've had to make is that I won't be reading every single bit of text in this game. Number one, there's a lot of it, and number two, I don't know if you can tell, but I am not a natural when it comes to commentating. In fact, even if I'm just talking normally with a friend and we're both talking an equal amount, after about an hour my voice starts to go. So I am just not very like my endurance leaves a little bit to be desired when it comes to talking for long periods. But when it comes to large bits of text, I will skim through it and summarize it. So this one starts out addressed to someone by the name of Solomon. You might remember that name from the opening narration. Solomon was referred to as a traitor. This letter is basically congratulating him, telling him that there's gold waiting for him. Okay. In the hands of Andover Potbellow. Interesting. It's also mentioned something called the Roland affair. Roland, in this case, presumably King Roland Ironfist. The leader in Enroth. It also mentions Queen Catherine and a plan to force her to return to Erathia. Which, if you played Heroes 3, you might know about that, and about Queen Catherine and the goings-on in Erathia. It mentions her son Nikolai is technically the ruler right now, but because he's just a kid, there's a regent, Wilbur Humphrey, ruling in his place. And some other generic evil-sounding things, and signs off in the end. The person writing this letter is Xenofex, which is not at all a sinister-sounding name. So that letter mentions someone by the name of Andover Potbellow, and indeed, if we look at our quest log, that is our first quest. We have to show the letter to Potbellow, and he is, in fact, in the tavern that we walked right past. I'm just gonna save again for no particular reason. Game 2, and we're gonna go inside. This is a lonely night. That's the name of this establishment. Night not being the time of day, but rather the other kind of night. Very, clever. Play on words, pretty clever. Let's talk to the innkeeper. And you know what? Let's be friendly, generous patrons. Let's try and give him a tip and see what happens. See, he insists we have a drink first. Let's do it. Roderick enjoyed that. He smiled. Let's get around for everyone. It just costs 1 gold. Alexis also enjoyed that. So did Serena. And so did Zoltan. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the interesting reactions. Sometimes when you do that, they will throw their head back and laugh. Sometimes they will just straight up get drunk. So I'm just gonna... Let's pick Roderick. Let's give him another drink. He's gotten drunk. Let's give Alexis another drink. Let's give another drink. Let's give... Yeah, see, he did the thing where he threw his head back and laughed, but he didn't get drunk. So Roderick only lasted 2 drinks. Roderick, I'm sorry, you are a lightweight. Okay, having had those drinks, now we can finally tip Dirk the innkeep. He tells us something about the abandoned Temple of Ba, which is one of the first dungeons we will be going to. Okay, we're done talking to him. Let's quickly talk to Maria. She has some stuff to say. She tells us that apparently the roads aren't safe due to bandits and brigands. We'll see what we can do about that. She mentions Goblin Watch. An abandoned keep has now been taken over by goblins. Interesting. Maybe we'll do something about that. She mentions the Howling Moon, which is, I assume, another tavern somewhere, and its proprietor is George Canis. She says it's a wonderful place, and to tell him, she said hi. You know what? We'll tell him, and we'll see if he remembers Maria. Let's finally talk to the target of our quest. Fellow travelers. He starts out by saying "Ba, friend," which is an odd way to greet someone, but it turns out that he thought we were a member of his temple. You'll note that he is a follower of Ba, which is essentially a new religion. So, alright, fair enough, you know. Let's give him the letter. He gives us some money and tells us to go away before we're seen together, or people will get suspicious. He also has a quest for us. Okay, and it has to do with the abandoned temple that Dirk was just telling us about. That temple, in fact, used to be a temple of Ba, and they had to leave for some reason. They left some stuff behind. He wants us to retrieve a candelabra, which apparently has some ritualistic value. Okay. Apparently the priests are afraid of a curse that's been placed on that. That doesn't sound very good. Alright. So, with all that done, let's look at our quest log now. And it says we need to go to Castle Ironfist. Show the letter to Regent Wilbur Humphrey. We'll do that. We'll do that. But before we do that, I am gonna go here because I don't think I've done this yet. No, I haven't. Okay. So, this relates to something I did when I was creating my characters. I reduced their luck as far as it could go, and the reason was that if your luck is below a certain threshold, this well will give you more luck, and I gave each of them 2 drinks of that well, which raised their luck by 4 each. So we got some free stats out of that, essentially. We lowered our luck, but then we got some of it back. And with that done, what I'm going to do now is we need to learn some skills. So somewhere in these houses will be people who will
Whoa.
give us membership
How
to
are you?
guilds, and those guilds will teach us skills. So I believe these people are on this side of the town.
Hi.
So here we go. We get membership to the Elemental Guild.
Thank you.
That's good.
Hello.
We get membership to the Guild of the Self.
Thank you.
That's good. We also get a quest here. Her daughter has wandered and she thinks she's gone to the abandoned temple. So now we have 2 reasons to go there.
Hello.
You don't have anything for us.
Hello.
You don't have anything. Come on, out of my way.
Hello. How are you?
Blades End.
Thank
We
you.
want to join this guild.
Hello.
We want to join the
Thank you.
Buccaneers' lair. Okay. Now, I believe this is Blades End. Indeed, it is. What do we want to teach you? Nothing. Probably nothing. Yeah, no. Doesn't have any of the useful skills. We want to go here,
Closed.
but it's only open till 6 p.m. and unfortunately we also need to go to Castle Ironfist, but I think this stables will often go to Castle Ironfist, so there's no need to be intent on doing it right now. Let's just, yeah, do this. We need to teach Merchant to you, and let's teach Perception to you. Okay. With that done, let's see if by any stroke of luck the stables are still open. Nope. They closed at the exact time that the Buccaneers' lair opened. So let's just rent a room for a night. And try again the next day. Okay. Nope. Let's rest one more day. Just one more day. And let's go back. And now we can go back to Castle Ironfist, and as you can see, the cost is slightly lower because Serena now has the merchant skill. Go to Castle Ironfist. Oh, one thing I forgot to do in New Sorpigal was I forgot to pick up the horseshoes from the stables. You might think this is a joke, useless item, but in fact, if you use these on your characters, they're worth skill points. You'll get skill points from using them. Before I do anything, I want to... Eagle's Eye. I want to buy some bows. Oh, these are really expensive.
I think it's closed.
Really expensive, but worth it. But before we can buy a bunch of bows, we need to be able to learn how to use a bow.
Hello.
So somebody here will give us membership to that place. Guild,
Thank you.
sure. But I really need... Excuse me? I really need membership to
Hello.
this guild. Maybe this guy will have it.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
He also has a quest. We'll come to him later. Now let's go to the Berserker's Fury. And oof, this is expensive. Before we can teach everyone bow, we're gonna have to get some money. So we're just gonna run straight up. Our quest, if you might remember after, or I don't know if I showed this, but our quest now, having spoken to Potbellow, is to take the letter to Regent Wilbur Humphrey in Castle Ironfist. And this is a suitably regal-looking structure. Let's go straight inside. Uh-huh. So that's Nikolai. We're not going to be talking to him for reasons that I'll explain later. We're going to be talking to Wilbur Humphrey. Let's give him the letter. He gives us 5,000 gold, which is very helpful. He reads the letter and immediately overreacts. That's okay. Now, he mentions something about Lord Kilburn, and there's that this person disappeared near Blackshire. Okay, if we're ever there, we'll see if we can find out what happened to Lord Kilburn. And he, by the way, this guy is also the person who will eventually promote Roderick to a Crusader. Let's, get that quest right now. He says... that we must rescue a damsel in distress, which is kind of sexist, but that's what you've got to do. So we'll see about doing that at some point. Okay. And cause I can train? Should we train is the question. I think the answer is yes, because we've trained a couple levels each. And what else I'm gonna do right now is, since we're here and since we have... What I'm gonna do is... Well, first, I'm gonna go down, we're gonna learn bow with all our characters. Then I'm gonna increase Serena's merchant skill a bit. We're gonna sell some of the stuff we can get, some of the stuff we have. We're gonna buy good bows. First of all, let's go here. Let's teach everyone bow. Teach... You already know that. Let's teach you. Oh, we forgot you. Let's teach you. Now let's go here. Actually, first of all, let's your bow to 4. It doesn't give you much. Let's raise your merchant skill first, so we can do some more. Let's raise your bow. And let's raise your bow. Actually, no, let's raise your identify item, because we won't be able to get both of our people to expert just yet. So let's, I was able to identify that. That's great. So now, with that done, I'm gonna go back up, and I'm gonna sell the stuff that Serena's carrying. I'm sorry, there's a lot of back and forth, but what I'm doing right now is I'm setting us up for going back to New Sorpigal with good bows and with expertise in the bow skill, and then going and doing those opening dungeons. So yeah, it might seem like I'm all over the place. There is a method to this madness. So, how much do we get? Not great, but it's gonna be fine for now. Okay, so with that done, let's go down and buy some bows for our people. Buy some bows, and then we'll visit the guy who can teach us the expert bow skill, because that's going to be very handy. No, that was here. Eagle's Eye. We're gonna buy... Oh no, he only has... Okay, so we'll get this, we'll get this, and I guess we'll get a longbow. Actually, no, let's look at his regular bows for a moment. Yeah, no, he just has a bunch of garbage. 4d2 compared to 5d2. Okay, these are clearly better. So I'll get, I guess, 2 of these. A little disappointing. Would have liked to have bows with a bonus. So what I'll do is I'll give this to you. I'll give this one to you. Our good bows going to people with soon to be expertise in the bow skill. Now we're gonna go back
How
here.
are ya?
Helen Teal, who for 2,000 gold will train us to be an expert
Okay.
in the bow skill. And our paladin and our archer are now experts in bow. And what does that do for us? Reduces recovery time, and that is going to be very important. And with that done, well, you know, let's test out our bows. Why not? Because you might notice we have some hostiles nearby. Oh god. So accuracy could be better, but when we hit, we're doing pretty good damage. We're taking these guys down pretty well. Let's take down a few more guys. These guys actually have pretty good ranged weapons, so they're matching us blow for blow, but we will take them down. And I think, yeah, he's gone out of range. Okay. Let's just take down this group, and then I think we're gonna loot their bodies and then head back to New Sorpigal.
Got him.
I'm actually pretty encouraged by this, because if we're this comfortable against these enemies, then what? Oh, there are more guys here. If we're this comfortable against these enemies, then we should be fine in the opening dungeons. So what I'm gonna do now is just loot all their bodies. We won't find massive amounts of gold, but we'll find, like, every little bit helps, right? So let's loot all of their bodies. By the way, you can loot with spacebar, you don't have to click. And who is pursuing us? These people? I'm not too worried about them. Let's go back here. See. And we can't actually go back to New Sorpigal yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to maybe one of the ships can take us. I forget which ship does which. Catherine, I think that might be a ship that only becomes active later in the game. Let's go to this ship. Ah yes, and this will take us back to New Sorpigal, although much more expensive than the stables. But you know what? It's fine. And as you can see, we're now at the docks. And there are goblins here. Let's just
Too easy.
take care of them quickly. Okay. And with that, I think I'm gonna call this video to a close. I'm pretty happy with the progress we made. It seems slow, but I was trying to balance, you know, making a good introduction for the game as a whole with being efficient. And the main thing I wanted to do was to set us up for success. So what we're gonna do in the next video is I think we're gonna go to the abandoned temple, and we're gonna see about doing all the quests that are associated with that. So, I wish you all the best, and I will see you then, so take care.